This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you by Liberté Ministries. Freedom. The word alone elicits strong feelings of pride and comfort. That's because it's more than a word. Freedom is something that everyone longs to have in many areas of life. At Liberté Ministries, it's at the focal point of all they do. The word liberté means freedom, and so they strive to help those in Haiti find freedom in education, in economic self-sufficiency, and most importantly, freedom in Christ. Liberté works with 23 congregations of the Lord's people in Haiti and operates 2 schools that have a combined attendance of 600 students. They also have the Haiti School of Biblical Studies, a 4-year college that not only provides crucial training for preachers, but also for teachers and other church leaders. In addition, there is Harry's Home, a children's home that sees to the physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of many children. Go to TravisLovesHaiti.com for more information on how you can help spread the good news of Jesus in Haiti.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. I'm Travis Creasy. That's Ben Hayes.
And that's Will Myhan right there.
Thanks for joining us today.
Man, it's good to be on with you fellas. Getting fired up. I'm hoping by the time this bad boy airs, I've got a couple of in-hand copies of Reframing Hope, our journey through cancer, adoption, and love. This podcast is brought to you by Lads to Leaders. Be sure to check them out, lads2leaders.com. Is that the number 2, Ben? Lads2leaders.
I believe that's right. Yes, sir.
Make sure you're checking that out. Obviously, TravisLovesHaiti.com. Check that out as well. Some great sponsors putting up with us. They love us. We love them. They're awesome. And they have our full support. If there's any way we can get more information in your hands, be sure to let us know.
We've already got several people who are jumping on to support our run this summer as well. And we've got some of our sponsors already. Some of those sponsorships are flying out really quickly. So make sure if you would like to sponsor the run or the disco dodgeball
Jump
in
on
August.
it. Jump on. We got one red sponsorship left for dodgeball. Right. CYC's jumped on. Thanks, Larry. The Transform Ladies Conference. More information coming out about that. Heritage Christian University. Karen Mann. Her counseling. What's the word there, Ben? Her counseling
agency.
Her counseling.
Her counseling work. I don't know.
You know, and her catchphrase that she's come up with, disco dodgeball. That I don't know. We just have to rip it off. That there will be trauma. That's exciting stuff. And by the time this airs, maybe we'll have more sponsors. So shout out to all the people who are running, the people who are joining Team Ben and Travis, the people who are sponsoring. Marshall Bible School is going to host us. Man, that's
on both
awesome
events.
Stuff.
That's
both
huge.
Events.
So thank you, Marcel, for doing that.
So man, I'm ready. I don't know that I'm ready to run, but I'm getting
not.
there.
I ran another mile today, and it is real slow. I need to at some point, I've got to finish the half marathon and keep running. Every year I get done with the half marathon, and I'm like, I'm done with this. And then 6 months later, I start trying to run again, and my body hates me. So I got to do better about that.
There's 2 words. Trey Reeves.
Yeah.
He's joined our team and is just an ultimate endurance.
I can't keep up with Trey. There's no way.
So, hey, but we've got people of all levels. We got people that are going to walk. We got people that are going to run the full marathon.
5K, baby, right here.
We got 5K, half marathon, full marathon. So,
and we still want people for our team. We got some great guys. We got a kid that went pretty far and did some really amazing things in track in high school this year, and he's on our team. And then we've got people like me who who might set a record for being the slowest. But if you would like to jump on our team, you can go. You send us a message. We'll find a way to get you linked up to our Ben and Travis.
We want a full floor at the hotel in December.
Awesome.
That's Team Ben and Travis. It'll just be a wild, crazy party the whole time. We'll just all be in bed by 8, right? I mean, It'll be crazy from that morning time too. But then you're in luck, dude. June 1, the Batify Challenge returns to Facebook. So once again, Facebook.com/groups/Ben and Travis. You can come do the June 1st Batify Challenge. Right now, if you join our Patreon, patreon.com/Ben and Travis, you get a Ben and Travis magnet. I'm just throwing it out there. But that's enough about us. We're going to talk a little bit about foster care. It is Foster Care Awareness Month. It is also Mental Health Awareness Month in May of 2022. And both of those things are near and dear to our hearts. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I have been a foster parent, and we've had 2 placements. One that we have adopted 2 kiddos, Haley and Daniel, who are with us rocking and rolling. And it's a wild ride. It's an interesting life, that of a foster parent. And it certainly revealed things about me. I thought I was a fairly selfless person. And those 2 kiddos showing up at my door helped me realize that, in fact, I am a very selfish person. And I like my time. And, kids, they were 1 and 2 when they showed up. And they are no respecter of time or personal bubbles or anything like that. But it has been a tremendous blessing, and I've learned a lot about the Lord through it.
You mentioned in your book being a cancer survivor and a foster parent, and the hardest thing you've ever done is be a foster parent.
Yes.
I read the book in a day, and I'm going, cancer survivor, foster parent. And you go, yeah, no comparison here. So
you didn't leave the hospital for a whole month, and he's still saying foster care is more difficult. So, Travis, what makes that so difficult?
Let us in on the secrets.
When you're a cancer survivor, you got things going on, and neither one of these are easier. And I'm not saying that would be the same for everybody. I'm just telling you, for me, it was hard. It was difficult for me because it was somebody else's kids. We talked about on the Mom podcast that, moms, or at least women in general, they don't really need a reason to care for kids. And maybe that was difficult. Maybe it was a mix of my selfishness. Maybe it was a mix of those aspects. But it was really hard. And then you throw in, not only we've got these 2 kiddos and they can't communicate to us about what they want, but then you have their parents and their struggles. And then you throw in, I think we even mentioned this in the book, our baggage and struggles and things that we're going through. And so it just made life really wild. And it was, I want to be there for my wife, because she's feeling differently. And, there was a kind of a pressure there, not any that she put on me. It was all stuff that I'd put on myself. And so I felt like I had to be there, and I had to be this perfect. And I'm sure anybody who has kids has that pressure to be perfect and to be, the best dad in the world. And man, it was just constantly walking in the door and getting slapped in the face with how tough life is in general, and how the world is a big, mean place. It'll just beat you down if you let it. And it was just hard because you got your wants and the things that you want to do. And like I said in the opener, man, you just get a reality check of how selfish you are, and how kind of in a bubble, your little bubble of this is how the world works. And there are bad things out there, and that's why we call the book Reframing Hope, because I like to reframe everything in a good light. And there were just days that was not possible. It was just stinky.
Well, and one of the things that most people out there who listen to this knows that I've got 5 kids, and we went the all natural route, and we had our kids, all of ours are biological, and there's something interesting about the foster, thing that's different. That's a challenge more so than having your own. And that is, like you said, there's other eyes and other people involved in this. So not only do you have the other parents who, a lot of times in this, and the same way with you guys, are still in the picture and still working on some things. And there's always that, okay, are we going to get to keep these kids? Are we going to get to adopt these kids? What's the outcome going to be? are these going to stay ours or not? And then along with that, you have the system. You're having to take classes. You're having, which we probably should have taken classes, just because that's probably not a bad thing. But, you have other eyes. They're coming to inspect your house. They're inspecting the way that you deal with the kids, whereas the parents don't necessarily have as much of that until the system gets involved. You guys, there's just a lot, and you're one day not a parent, and the next day you are. And it's super quick.
At that time, I'm coaching football. When they came, it was a spring, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it just seemed like there was not a day that went by that we didn't have appointment or something that they had to do. We had to kind of go with that. And they tell you when you get into this foster care, you're fostering to reunite, and that was what made me drag my feet. Because I knew the end game is for them to go back home. And that's what we got into it for. And, that's what we wanted to do, was kind of be legacy changers, kind of stop the cycle, because so many kids who are in the foster care system, their parents were in the foster care system and their parents before them. And so we wanted to stop that. But it was also, that's when Whitney first brought it up. I was like, you do know those kids go home, right? We're going to fall in love with these kids. And then we're cheering for them to go home. We want them to go home. In the first few months, that was really easy. We really wanted Haley and Daniel to go home. And, we loved them. But this was not home to them. And you could tell that. It was just difficult. It was hard, that kind of melding together.
That would be tough for me. And we're not telling this to make it, other people not want to do this, but just the realization, the reality of that's what it is. It's tough. And so mad respect to you guys and to other people who make that decision.
Well, it is a pet peeve of mine when people try to bully folks into foster care. It is a selfless act. It has to be. It can't. I mean, there are people out there who do it for money. They do it for the money. And, you can look down on that and you can feel bad about that. And maybe that's not the great motivator, but they're doing it. And I can remember people that we would run into, and they're like, man, you guys are awesome at this. And we'd go back to the car and look at each other and go, if we're awesome, like, what is everybody else doing? Because we felt like we were messing up at every corner. It's just hard. And so for people out there who, for whatever reason, want to kind of pressure people to do this sort of thing, like, I have very little patience for that. It is something you have to decide you want to do. It's a great decision. It's a wonderful decision. Our life is so much fuller. We have so much better understanding of who God is and the adoption that we are with Him because of it. But it's something that you and your spouse or whoever you're getting into it with, that's something y'all have to make the decision for.
So let me ask you this, and I think this is what we ultimately wanted to get to. Obviously people can contact you and ask you questions about how to go through that process. But for those who may not be ready or wanting or able at this point to be foster parents all of the time, or take on that task, what are some things that we can do to help people who are foster parents? What are there ways that we can, as a community around them, as a church around them, what are ways that we can support foster parents in this journey?
I think one of the big things that you guys do over there in the Shoals area, and we've had them on the podcast, is folks like Isaiah's Call, that kind of help curb the need for kids to go into foster care by providing food. There are some people who are good parents. They just can't provide for their kids. And man, that's really heartbreaking, because it's just one of those things. Hey, I'm not making enough money. I don't have enough food. And so I need this help. So that's just kind of a ahead of the game kind of deal, providing things like that. So anytime y'all get peanut butter or whatever your church is charged with doing. That's a phenomenal thing. And depending on state, so in the state of Tennessee, if we trust somebody and they're willing to kind of go through the process, they really don't even have to be approved by the state necessarily. I know in Alabama, I think you have to be approved to be respite care.
Yeah.
But man, if you can sign up for a weekend a month to be respite care, where these kids can come to your house, or you go to a place where they're going to stay, or somebody that, well, even now, even if they're not adopted, right, Ben? If you want to take Ben's kids, he'll be glad to let you take them.
Right.
But those are things you can do where, I can't do this 24/7. I can't do it all, for a month or however long. If you can donate a weekend a month or a weekend every 3 months, they're always looking for things like that.
Well, and that was the one thing I was going to kind of speak to, because I don't have a whole lot of experience with this. But there for a couple of months, maybe a year, I'm trying to remember exactly, I was a foster, or not really foster care, but I would go to Coleman, and I would stay at the home there that's in Coleman and stay with the boys. And there was probably 8 or 10 boys, and I would do a 24-hour respite. Yeah. So I would go once a week and stay. I'd get there. I think I got there after they went to school, if I remember correctly. And then I stayed until I took them to school the next day. And I would cook supper. I'd help them with homework. We'd go play ultimate frisbee or basketball or something with them. And I learned a lot in that process, about what these guys go through and how difficult it is, and how trouble, how much trouble it is for them, not for the parents, but just these boys. They've, to be able to go with their friends somewhere, they've got to, their friends have to be vetted, their dates have to be vetted. I mean, it's all these different things where it's a tough life for them, and they're just looking for somebody to love them. And that was a really, Child Haven, working there at Child Haven, doing that was a pretty eye-opening thing, but it's something that these parents need.
So training them to do things. If you're a good cook, having these parents that may be trying in the process of getting their kids back and working the program, you can always offer somehow. I don't know how it works in Alabama. It depends on your state. But, a couple of ladies at your church are like, hey, we'd like to get these moms or dads in here and teach them how to cook a meal.
Yeah.
Think about, there are people out there that don't know how to clean house. They've never been taught any of that stuff. Changing the brakes on their cars, things like that. Especially these kids who are young kids that don't know how to. I mean, some of that stuff I'd like to know how to do. I don't know all that stuff. And so, if you have abilities and talents like that, and that stuff comes natural to you, sewing or anything like that. When we went through the classes to get licensed, they were like, anytime you can do stuff like that, you can invite their biological parents in if the relationship's good and they're approved to do that. And you can teach the kids and them how to cook a meal or change the oil or any of those things. And so even stuff like that. And then the other thing I was going to bring up, we have here in the area, we're trying to get one started in Lincoln County, is Isaiah's House, I think is what it's called. And it's basically a place where these kids can go and live until they get a placement. And so, there are beds, because, we hear of kids all the time who sleep at the office of the state organization, whoever they've been given. So, for the first 24, 48 hours, they're sleeping in an office building. And so here in the area, I forget where that is, here near Lincoln County, they have a house that's furnished. It's got beds, bunk beds. And so multiple kids can stay there. And of course you need people who are willing to be there. And then the other thing is just being a place where a visit can happen. Most of the time, if you go to park here in Lincoln County and you see a bunch of kids and parents there, there's a visit probably going on because they use the parks. But if there's bad weather, that's really hard to do because, it's difficult. You want to invite the parents in, but sometimes the situation's not good. They don't need to know where you live. And that may be something that may be a comfort level for you. It may not be a bad situation. You just aren't comfortable with them knowing where you live. But if there's a place, and we were able to use Washington Street Church of Christ here in town a couple of times when the weather wasn't cooperating to meet, but you'd be amazed at how difficult it is sometimes to find a place that's safe, that kids can play. There are things to play. There's things for them to do, and for the kids just to be around their biological parents in a safe environment.
So I don't have foster kids, but I do know it is always something that blesses me when people say, hey, we're sending you some money to take your kids to go eat, or we're sending you something. We have some ladies at church that are always just like, at Christmas time or something, they're handing us stuff and going, you take them kids to go do something. I think things like that are welcome with any family, but certainly I would think that would be a welcome thing for these new parents who are trying to figure this all out. Like you guys, Easter night, 2 kids are dropped at your doorstep with like a gown and an Easter egg, and I don't remember what else they had, but there wasn't much. And, when you're trying to figure that all out, I know people donated items to you guys, baby beds and different things, but I think even long term, hey, here's some stuff. I know you need to get some supplies. I know, this will bless you in some way. Yeah. So if you can't take them, if you can't, help, keep them over the weekend, then maybe something like that is helpful too.
Yeah. How many times I text you on Sunday evening? I don't know what it was with us, but it was like Sunday afternoon, evening. We were all sick of each other. We had it. It was like, man, I don't know what it was about Sunday afternoon. I don't know if it was, hey, I just preached a sermon about how Jesus loves us, and now I'm going to be mad the rest of the day. But we would just get out. I mean, we didn't have Sunday evening services, which probably would have been nice. That would probably been a good thing to go to. But Riverside, we don't do a Sunday evening. But we would find a park or something. We just had to get out of the house. You can either help them have some time away from each other, but ultimately be in prayer. Pray for them. And the reason that got brought up is we were at a Chick-fil-A, and we were having a conversation with a couple that was our age, and they had 2 kiddos. And they looked at us and said, man, going from 1 to 2 was a big jump, right? And we were kind of looked at each other and said, well, we went from 0 to 2. And they were like, can we put you on our prayer list? I mean, there was nothing. They just admit, can we put you on our prayer list at church? And we're like, yes. Yes. So if nothing else, the most powerful thing you can do is pray, and then let the discernment move you to serve the best that you can. And that's the beauty of God, is that, he comes in the clutch, and the clutch might just be you. So those are all some great ways. If you can't be a 24/7 foster parent, there are definitely those ways that you can help.
Titus 3:14, our people must learn to engage in good deeds to meet pressing needs so that they will not be unfruitful. So maybe God is moving you towards foster parenting. Maybe he's encouraging you through this to support some of those around you who are, to become a respite care, to pray for them, to give them some things that they need. Whatever the case may be, we hope that you guys will love on those people who are choosing to love on kids that were not given to them biologically, but they have chosen to take them in and are doing awesome things with them. So thanks, Travis, for setting that example for us all.
On the Helping Healing Humor podcast, we talk about anxiety and stress and its impact on our everyday lives. We know that finances, including planning for retirement, is one of the leading causes of stress. It can be confusing and overwhelming. There are differing opinions on the best approach.
it can be hard to know who to trust. For our retirement planning, Whitney and I trust Greg Howell of Howell Wealth Management at Northwestern Mutual. Greg is professional, knowledgeable, and accessible. He looks at the whole picture and thinks outside the box to create ways to help you reach your financial goals. Retirement planning can be especially challenging for ministers who do not have the benefit of a 401k, but Greg's expertise and creativity can get you on the right path and give you confidence for the future. Text him to schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at 931-638-1576. Be sure to tell him Ben and Travis sent you. Remember, that's Greg Howell of Howell Wealth Management at Northwestern Mutual, 931-638-1576.
All right, so our lads to leaders questions, plural, of the day, or question of the day, lads to leaders question of the day, is from Karen Mann, who's, man, I don't even know if you can say friend of the show anymore. I mean, she's like bedrock of the show. If you ever need anything, or you're ever like, man, where did that awesome, amazing idea come from on the podcast, or that amazing, awesome video? If you ever have that response, it is usually Karen Mann. If you're like, wow, where did that annoying part come from? It was the three of us. So, Karen in Facebook.com/groups/Ben and Travis asked the question, imagine yourself 10 years in the future. What's going on? Physically, spiritually, work-related. I'm going to say that we've made $1 million podcasting, but that is doubtful. But it would be
we got
awesome.
a long way to go.
Would
Yeah,
it not be? It would be awesome.
It would be amazing. Physically, I'm going to be old.
You're going to be 10 years older.
I'm going to be feeling pretty old at that point.
Wait, you're going to be over 50.
And I'm thinking that there's a good chance at that point. There's a chance. I'm hoping there's a good chance I'm going to have a grandbaby at that point. I mean, that's kind of weird.
I'm done. I'll see you guys.
I'm just saying there's a good chance that I could be. But there's a good chance there's a lot of different things that could be happening. But that would be, I guess, physically. Spiritually, I hope that I'm smarter and stronger than I am right now. I hope that I'm a better encourager and a little bit more patient than I am right now. As far as work is concerned, I have no idea still. I mean, I hope that I'm still in some capacity working at Highland Park, but, I guess there's a whole lot in between now and then. I feel like I'll probably still be doing some counseling at that point. So
I think I'll be entering the most stressful years of my life because my daughter will be 13. And then it's like, do you be her youth minister? Do you not be her youth minister? What does that look like? Who knows? Can you have a 42-year-old youth minister and still be cool? I don't know. So
Gary Elder.
I do believe that, I'll still be in ministry in some capacity for sure. It's what I love. It's what I enjoy doing. And so Lindsay supports that. And so as long as Amy supports that, then I think that'll still be a part of our life. Maybe future children, who knows by then. Spiritually, I would like to have a much deeper understanding of who God is, and the way that he works in my life and the opportunities that he allows me to have. I would say physically, I want to be in better shape at 42 than when I am at 32. Like
I thought he was going to say, I want to be in better shape at 42 than Ben is right now at 41. And the key is to that, you probably will be. But
I told Lindsay the other day, I have these desires to not be significant. I don't care to be significant. I don't care if my neighbor even knows that I exist. But I want to do something significant that my family can look at and go, hey, Dad accomplished something that was very, very challenging. And I don't know what that is yet, whether that be an Ironman or just like a 100-mile run or just something that other people look at and go, you're an idiot, for doing that.
Being dropped on an island with your two best buds with just stuff from...
You are in good company, brother, because there's a lot of people that look at us at the age you'll be in 10 years and go, man, what a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. I told Lindsay, we were driving up the road, I was like, I just have a desire to do something that is significant to me and insignificant to a lot of other people.
Yeah, you're in the right spot, boss. Right here. You're hitting it 10 years early. 10 years early, bro. We're wheelhouse. For me, I would love to be traveling the world. And I know Haley and Daniel are 17 and 18 at this point, which is mind-boggling. But when I say the world, I mean we've taken the Helping Healing Humor podcast on the road. At least on the weekends, maybe some great Helping Healing Humor weekends where we do some good counseling. I'm still the guinea pig. Ben's, still over there correcting me on all the things I've gotten wrong. But physically, actually, it's really funny because you were hitting all those things and I was like, I think I am in better shape than I was at 32. Check. I'm certainly doing a bunch of things that no one else really enjoys, but I am loving, so everybody else can get over it. And so the third thing I would say is I hope to be able to give back to Whitney what she has given to me. I'm still working on that husband thing, and it's kind of like that Christian thing. I don't ever think I'm going to get there. Like when I've gotten there, I will no longer be alive, and there'll be no longer opportunities to do that.
So you're going to give her grace and mercy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Tons of it. But I hope I'm even more confident in Jesus and the Spirit to where I have that right balance of boldness on the things I need to be bold about and humble about the things I need to be humble about, and then just not care what anybody else thinks.
And I hope we're still sleeping in David's Lodge the 4th week of June.
Yeah. There you go.
Hear that.
Which would be terrifying for all of the 17 and 18-year-old boys that would still be there.
That is true. That's true.
So Dale Sheehy, the dad joke champion of the universe from Dallas, Texas, wondered out of the three of us which one would win a dad joke contest, which I'm assuming the rules are that we could not crack up. And I'm going to tell you, I'd lose. I lost in Dallas. The first time somebody said one, I cracked. Because I'm loving life. I would definitely lose. There's no way I'm winning.
Yeah, I'm losing that too. I think Will's going to obviously have to be the winner. And now, if you got to come up with your own jokes, I'm definitely out because I have to steal other people's too. But if it's, if we can read other people's, I'm still going to lose because I'd start laughing. Travis and I would laugh in each other's face. I don't know.
Will is the official dad joke champion then. He never had to say anything.
Although Lindsay would say that would be wrong because she was like, you'll giggle when Ben and Travis send you a text. Yeah. But I will say, and for the people that haven't got the book, you need to order it because Travis had a lot of good one-liners and stories that I was just sitting there busting out laughing. Like when you get two kids brought to you on the night of Easter and you look at your wife and go, do we even have two beds? It's like,
yeah.
There you go.
There's some fun stuff in there.
And on that, Travis, on the book, you guys did an amazing job. You did an amazing job with just telling the story from your perspective and Whitney from hers. And you were somewhat of the comic relief for that book, as we all would have assumed.
Stunning turn of events.
But your wife, Whitney, is a wordsmith. She is fantastic in the way that she worded things in the book.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.